Hey, everybody. I am hopping in here for a quick live that is unplanned and unannounced again. And don't know how many of you will be able to be here and say hi to me. So if you're watching, say hi in the comments. If you're watching the replay, say hi anyway. I just had a couple quick things we wanted to share because as in me, because Jason's not in here, we were just doing a podcast and I had some stories that we were talking about and remembering and reflecting on and thought that you might want to know them as well because the episode's not going to come out for a little bit. And we have I wanted to remind you also that we have the first of the two showings of the Good to Great webinar happening tomorrow night. So, being Saturday night, for most of you guys, it's Sunday morning over here. I don't expect many of you to be online right now, but Sunday night usually tends to be a really good time for joining a class because hopefully you don't have any appointments then, and you have some some boundaries on your work schedule and you have time to hop on. So don't forget, the first of the two showings is tomorrow night, Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then the next one, same class, also live again, is on Wednesday. So you can pick one of those two times. There's a link in the description here of this post. So don't forget, that is happening. But the thing that I wanted to tell you about is that we actually just this past week met up with this guy who he teaches how to advertise on LinkedIn. So he knows a ton of stuff. He used to be, I think, an architect or something like that and had like regular jobs. And then over the years he started and grew a few different businesses. And we met him because he's in a business mastermind that I'm in. So I know him from this group of a whole bunch of really successful people. So he happens to live nearby, and we met up with him for coffee, and we were talking about business strategies and a whole bunch of different things. And he actually told us this story about how he's lived all over the world. Originally from Ireland. He lived in the UK for a long time. He lived in the States for a while. He lives over here in Australia now, and he lived in Manila for 3 years in the Philippines. And he said that he set up this charity to go into these communities of people who are living on $1 a day. And I've seen these communities. It is like unbelievable poverty. Like you cannot even imagine it. It is so crazy. Oh, my internet connection's being dumb. Hang on, let me check it. Which one am I on? Oh, okay. Hopefully it's okay. If I get wonky, it's my internet. It's being dumb. So he said that he's in Manila. He set up this charity to help these people who are living on $1 a day to be able to learn some skills that would help them be able to make $2 a day, which of course is a 100% increase in their living money. And he said that the first thing that he would do with these people in these communities that are living on $1 a day is help them to realize that making $2 a day is in the realm of reality. Because the first thing that's so unusual about the way they think is that they are making $1 a day. And the reason they're not making more isn't just that they don't have some kind of knowledge or ability or skill. They literally just do not even recognize that it's possible. It's just not something in reality. They've never seen it done. It's just not something they even can comprehend as an existing possibility. It's just not real. And for them to be able to see that other people can and have done that is the first mind-blowing step for them, is to just even be able to recognize the possibility. And I thought that that was such a fascinating story because I think that every entrepreneur, no matter what kind of economy you're faced with in life, has the same kind of experience, that you don't really recognize something that's possible for you in your business until you see somebody else do it. And when you see somebody else do it, it's like curtains are opened up to this like whole other planet that you didn't even know existed. Another example of that would be if you're in your business and you make these certain assumptions about the way your business is supposed to go. You start the business with these ideas of all these benefits that you're going to have in your life and these freedoms that you're going to have in your life because you have a business now instead of just a job. And what happens is your business turns into another job. You have a job where you're limited to working a certain amount of time and you're limited in the amount of money that you can make, and you want to break free of that. You start a business and you have this brilliant, amazing lifestyle in mind of how you're going to be able to do what you want, have the time off that you want, and make the money that you need, and be able to have all this freedom. And that's all true. You imagine that you're kind of taking away this ceiling of that your job doesn't provide. You have a job, you have your income from your job, and if you need 5,000 extra dollars one month because of a disaster and you need some extra money, there's very little you can do about it when you have a job. But you imagine that when you have a business, you have the ability to break free of that ceiling. that you can make extra money by working extra hard that month. And you can figure out a way to get that money. And that's one thing I always loved about being an entrepreneur, is that you do feel like you have more control over things like that and more freedom and things like that, in those areas. And then you also potentially have the freedom of being able to have the schedule you want, and being able to take off the time that you want and have time with your own dogs and have time with your family and have time to travel and all that stuff. And you wouldn't necessarily have that with a regular job. The problem is when you start a business, there's also no floor. So there's no ceiling necessarily, but there's also no floor. There's no minimum that you fall to, that, like, if things go badly, you still make a certain minimum amount of money and you still work a certain minimum number of hours. It's just, there's the trade-off is that there's the lack of certainty of having that stability as well. And because of that, you get into your business and sometimes you do not even know, you're not even aware, there's no realm of reality about the potential that you have in your business, because you trade one job for essentially something that becomes another job. That you are now in a job where your boss is just more crazy. And now there's this meme that goes around that's like, I quit my job because I wanted to escape the 9 to 5. And now that I've escaped the 9 to 5, I have a job that's 24/7, something to that effect. And that's basically what starting a business is like, that at first, especially, that you just work really, really hard for less payoff initially. But as you go along in your business, that pattern will continue unless the freedom lifestyle reasons that you started your business in the first place is the basis for where all your goals come from. But what happens is you start a business and the basis for your goals usually is an income amount. And that's fine, but it's usually just like, okay, I want to make this much money per month. And then you backtrack from there, all of the work that it's going to take to get to that. And you forget about all of the reasons, the lifestyles, the freedoms, the enjoyment, the passion, all of the great things about starting a business start to fade. And the only way that you can keep those things in mind and have those things be the basis for your goals and your plans and your strategies is to be around other people who think this way. Because otherwise, it never occurs to you what the possibilities are. So the absolute best ideas in your business will come from two places. One would be knowing all of the freedoms and the real reason why you want to be successful in the first place. Look at my reaction thingy. All the reasons why you want to be successful in the first place and what success actually looks like, separate from the income itself and not just the dollar amount. And then the second thing is to put yourself, what basically during the podcast episode, what came out of my mouth was putting yourself in front of the ideas. So imagining the ideas are like a train, and if you're nowhere near the tracks, they're just never going to hit you. So you have to be able to put yourself in front of the ideas and so that they hit you. And the only way to do that is to be around people who are doing something that never occurred to you as even possible. And when you see other people do it, it changes your perspective on what you can accomplish, what's possible, what you should want, what you do want, and how to get there, and what the actual strategies would be to get there. What do you need to change about your programs? What do you need to change about your prices? What do you need to change about your communication with people? What do you need to change about what your website says, or where you advertise, or the strategies for things, or who you hire, or how much you automate, or what you delegate, or what you get rid of in your business? All of those things are decisions that you make after you recognize that other people have accomplished something that you didn't even know, it didn't even occur to you to want until you saw somebody else do it. An example of that might be the ability to work with only the people you most love, only the schedule you want, the maximum number of hours per week that you want to work, and having a minimum amount of time off per year or per month or whatever, or per week. Things like that, even just kind of like the big picture, like what does your life and your business look like? Letting your business serve your lifestyle instead of your lifestyle just being completely bogged down by the business. And the business just completely takes over everything, all your decisions, all your time, all your thought, all your energy, and you have no recovery time, no time to even think of an idea because your brain is just full with the busyness of the business. And getting out of the busyness of the business and being able to put yourself in front of the idea train sometimes comes from just being able to see other people who have done it and follow the pattern of the things that they did. But you can't even do the strategies if you don't even know that it's possible. It doesn't even occur to you to want it. Another example of this is what we do is that to us, success in our business is all about those freedom things, like being able to drop everything if there's an emergency, being able to come up with a way of making a bunch of money when there's an emergency, being able to take time off and go places with the kids and have really great relationships with the kids because we're around them all the time, and being able to travel and being able to have time off and being able to read books and being able to take care of my health and being able to exercise and eat well and spend time researching, health things for my own, for the reasons that I need that. And stuff like that are all really, really important parts of our lifestyle. And what we love about the business is that we make the business be the thing that it needs to be to do those things. That we don't just have these arbitrary, like, I want to make this much money per year so that I can just say that I did. The actual lifestyle stuff comes first. And then from that, we create goals and dollar amounts and stuff like that, not the other way around. So when we're out somewhere and we're, like, let's say we go to a diving destination and there's other people that are visiting there from other countries, and they ask us what we do, and the kids are there too, and nobody else has kids there usually. And they're like, oh, what do you do for work? Like, how are you here? How do you live in Australia? And we explain, like, we have an online business, and we try to explain what we do. Like, sometimes when you have your own business, it's hard to help people understand what exactly you do for work. And so we explain, and then they kind of glaze over and blue screen initially, like they're completely confused, and they're like, well, how do you do that? Like, and what do you do for school for the kids? And we're like, oh, we homeschool the kids. And and then eventually you're in the conversation, and eventually their brain opens up and they're like, so that means that you could work anywhere. And that means that as long as you have internet, then you can get work done and you could live anywhere. And we're like, yeah. And then it, like, the light bulb opens up, but it's almost like it just never occurred to them that real people do this. This is even a possibility. And when you have your dog training business set up in the way that's like, by like the lifestyle appearances is beautiful and brilliant and fun and everything else, and you have plenty of time off, then you can do the same thing and say, I get to play with animals and work with really cool people and have lots of time off and make lots of money. And like, if that's the way you end up being able to describe what you do, that is so much, that's like, they're going to be confused at first. And then they think about it and they're like, oh, that means that you get to do all these fun things and also have a really great income. And being able to get to that point where everything lines up is, again, it just doesn't occur to these people to think of that as possible until they see somebody else do it. And then they go, oh man, I wish I could do that. And then some of those people, who knows, maybe become entrepreneurs and start businesses or something. Who knows? But it just doesn't occur to you to want it until you see it happen. So one of the best things that you can do for yourself to be able to get the best ideas is to identify people who are where you want to be, not just in terms of income, like the actual dollar amount that they make per year, but in terms of enjoyment of their business and loving it and having the lifestyle that you wanted to have and the reason why you started a business in the first place. And see the patterns of those people and put yourself in front of the idea train of those people. Just being around them helps you recognize possibilities that you didn't know existed. An example of that is somebody we actually, in the last live that we did a few days ago that we talked about, is someone who went from making maximum of about $55,000 a year in their dog training business to now new goal and plan, the 2024 revenue should be around $300,000. Working probably, I think it's a lot less, but only with clients he really loves, and having weekends off, doing no board and trains, no real staff. Like, his wife helps out sometimes, and that's it. It's pretty much just him. And the only reason he was able to accomplish that was because of very specific strategic changes to his programs and his website and specific marketing decisions. But he had to first be able to recognize that that was even possible. But because of what he's accomplished, he's also helped other people realize that they could have weekends off, that they could just also schedule their business life the way they want and have the boundaries that they want on the time and the people that they accept, and all kinds of mental things that had to be decided and recognized, that other people now benefit from his experiences because he was able to figure it out. And it's viewed as something you are allowed to do and something you can accomplish and something that is possible. There's another person that I know who's also in this group, and she's in our peak program too. And she is young and was doing really, really well, and then stopped doing really, really well, and was making a maximum of around $6,000 a month a few months ago. And just things got where she was just super crazy busy. And she's like, I love people, but people are exhausting and I'm tired and I just want more time off because I'm tired. And she was making $6,000 a month working insane like amounts and just working really hard to just try to get things fixed, try to get things better. And then so she came around again and made some changes to her programs and made some changes strategically. But part of the things that benefited her was to be able to see the things that were possible. So as we're saying, like, here's what other people have done, here's some plans, ideas, some knowledge that would help, and adjusting her programs, she went from making on average about $1,500 per client and struggling to even get that to making now over on average over $5,000 per client and easily selling 60, I think $6,300 programs to multiple people in a row. Despite the fact that she literally, this is like programs that are what she calls chill vibes. She wants chill people, super easygoing people, easy programs, easy dogs, in home, no board and train, no staff, just her, and had a record breaking month last month. I think we already told you the story in the other live. I think it was $26,000 last month. And she's made more this year through April than she has the previous 20, like the whole year last year, all of 2023. So more in 4 months than the previous whole year. And again, she wouldn't have been able to accomplish those things or even come up with the plans and the knowledge, the ideas, or be able to implement the knowledge without the experience of other people who have had similar experiences, because you just don't know it exists otherwise. You don't know of the possibility. So being around people who think like you, who can answer questions that you have, get you unstuck, keep you from getting in your own way, the imposter syndrome things, the fears, the discomforts that are natural with growth. It's natural, it's completely normal to be uncomfortable when you're making changes. To go from having programs that struggle to sell at $1,500 to selling a $6,300 program obviously requires some discomfort along the way. But being able to overcome the discomfort and help have people keep you in kind of this mode of growth that's a little bit uncomfortable sometimes but pays off like ridiculously. You can't do that on your own. You can't just be alone in your business with nobody else in your life and in your family that understands you and be able to accomplish things like that. You have to be able to have people you can think out loud to, and people who can keep you seeing straight and give you focus and give you clarity on the possibilities and clarity about priorities and which things to stop doing and which things you don't have to worry about anymore and which things matter the most. You cannot do it on your own. You have to have those kinds of people. That's why I love this group and our Peak Facebook group for a Peak program and the people that are in it, because you also need to know that if you're relying on other people, that they know what they're talking about, that they've got to have a brain and can answer a question really well. And yeah, so that's, I love so many of you guys, and so many of you have just been have gotten to be friends of ours because of the things that you've been able to accomplish and help other people accomplish, and that cycle keeps continuing, which is amazing. So that's what we wanted to share, is how you might not realize that there's a lot of things that you could accomplish in your business simply because you have not been put in front of the train and you don't know that it's possible, and you don't know the people that you could rely on to give you great advice and to help keep you focused. And you also don't know what strategies and what things to change, like which things actually make the difference. Is it going to be like some kind of major magic bullet social media posts that you do, or some kind of, specific digit in your price that you use that all of a sudden makes the difference? Or what is the big break that you're looking for that you can get in your business and you just haven't gotten that big break yet? It's not really about any of those things. There's like a few specific key things that you do and you focus on, and that those things just make all the difference, and you can forget about everything else. And those few things are what we're talking about in the class tomorrow night. So Sunday night, 7 p.m., be there. If you can't be there Sunday, we're doing the live class again, just same class on Wednesday. So you can get there in the link that is down below, or just go to makeitasadogtrainer.com and scroll down, you'll see it right there. It's called Good to Great. So it's basically how to get from just getting by in your business to making it all the things that you originally envisioned that you've now lost touch with over the years. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So just wanted to share those stories, a little quick preview on that podcast that we just recorded. And of course, I'll share with you the episode when it comes out. And yeah, for now, you've got one job, And you can think about all the things that you originally wanted the business for in the first place that you've lost touch with, and give that some thought. Why do you even want to be successful? What's that going to do for you? What is the lifestyle supposed to look like? What do you really want besides just the money? And why? Think about those things. Comment down below and tell us what it is. We love to hear your stories too. And yeah, join the class and we'll see you there. And hope you have a good rest of your Saturday night if you watch this tonight, or Sunday, whenever you see this. Talk to you soon.